In the barren land surrounding Bethlehem, a somber event was unfolding. Rachel, the cherished wife of Jacob, found herself in the throes of labor, fighting valiantly for her life as she endeavored to bring their second son into the world. The unforgiving desert sun bore silent witness to Rachel's agony, casting a harsh glare over the scene. Her cries of pain resonated through Jacob's encampment, echoing off the arid landscape and filling the hearts of those who heard with a sense of dread and helplessness. Jacob, standing by, was powerless to do anything but watch as his beloved wife struggled against the overwhelming tide of childbirth. With each agonizing breath, hope seemed to slip further away, the air growing heavy with the weight of impending sorrow. At last, the frail wail of a newborn pierced the oppressive silence, a moment of new life. However, this joyous sound was quickly overshadowed by sorrow as Rachel, weakened and exhausted from her ordeal, departed from this world. She left Jacob submerged in a sea of grief, his heart breaking as he cradled his newborn son, Benjamin, who was forever marked by the sorrow of his mother's final breath. But what truly caused Rachel's death? Does the Bible reveal the actual reason behind her tragic passing? This poignant question is what we shall delve into in today's video. As always, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Now, let us proceed with this heart-wrenching tale. Rachel stands as one of the most enchanting figures in the Bible, her life intricately woven with Jacob's in an emotional tapestry that has captivated readers for generations. Their story, chronicled in the book of Genesis, is a timeless love tale, one that speaks to the depths of human emotion and the enduring power of love. Jacob, fleeing the wrath of his brother Esau, left Canaan and embarked on a journey to Haran, where his uncle Laban resided. This path was long and arduous, fraught with dangers and challenges, yet it was laden with the hope of finding refuge and beginning anew. Upon reaching Paddan Aram, Jacob arrived at a well where shepherds gathered to water their flocks. It was there, amidst the bustling activity of daily life, that he first laid eyes on Rachel. She was a shepherdess, diligently tending her father Laban's sheep, her beauty and grace immediately captivating Jacob. Struck by her presence, he approached and, with a great feat of strength, rolled away the stone from the well's mouth, allowing Rachel's flock to drink. This gesture of kindness and might impressed Rachel, marking their encounter as unforgettable. Introducing himself as Rebekah's son, Jacob was warmly welcomed by Rachel, who hurried home to inform her father of Jacob's arrival. Laban, upon hearing the news, rushed to greet his nephew and invited him into his home, the family ties drawing them close. Jacob, already deeply in love with Rachel, expressed his desire to marry her. He proposed to Laban that he would work as a shepherd for 7 years in exchange for Rachel's hand in marriage. Laban agreed, and Jacob commenced his labor with dedication and love, his heart filled with the anticipation of marrying his beloved. The 7 years passed swiftly for Jacob, each day bringing him closer to his cherished dream. When the time was fulfilled, Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wife, for my time is completed, so that I may marry her." Genesis 29:21. Laban organized a grand feast, inviting all the men of the place for the wedding celebration. Yet Laban harbored a different plan. On the night of the wedding, he deceitfully replaced Rachel with his elder daughter Leah. Concealed by the bridal veil and the darkness of night, Jacob remained unaware of the switch until dawn. Upon discovering the deception, Jacob confronted Laban in fury, demanding an explanation. Laban explained that it was their custom to marry off the elder daughter first, a tradition that had thwarted Jacob's plans. Nonetheless, he proposed a solution: Jacob could marry Rachel as well, provided he worked for another 7 years. Though disheartened and betrayed, Jacob's profound love for Rachel compelled him to accept the deal. He completed the wedding week with Leah and then married Rachel, finally uniting with the woman he loved, albeit at a great personal cost. Jacob's domestic life, shared with Rachel and Leah, was fraught with rivalry and tension. Though Jacob's heart belonged to Rachel, Leah was the one who first bore him children. She gave birth to 4 sons: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. With each son's birth, Leah hoped to win Jacob's love, but his preference for Rachel persisted, deepening the rift between the two sisters. Rachel, plagued by her infertility, deeply envied Leah's ability to bear children. Her despair reached a peak when she implored Jacob, "Give me children, or I shall die." Genesis 31. Jacob responded with frustration, reminding her that it was God who controlled fertility. To compete with her sister, Rachel resorted to an ancient custom. She gave her servant Bilhah to Jacob as a concubine so she could bear children in Rachel's name. Bilhah bore 2 sons, Dan and Naphtali. Leah, not wanting to be outdone, also gave her servant Zilpah to Jacob, who bore 2 more sons, Gad and Asher. Determined to find a solution, Rachel tried various methods that in popular belief could help her conceive. Among the practices Rachel adopted was the use of mandrakes, a plant that was considered a powerful remedy for promoting fertility in ancient times. It was believed that mandrakes possessed aphrodisiac properties and could help barren women conceive. One day, Reuben, Leah's eldest son, found mandrakes in the field and brought them to his mother. Rachel, seeing the plant, asked Leah to give her some of the mandrakes, hoping they might help her conceive. Leah, aware of Rachel's desperate desire, agreed to trade the mandrakes for a night with Jacob, who would normally have spent the night with Rachel. Despite the hopes pinned on the mandrakes, Rachel did not conceive immediately after using them. Her frustration continued to grow, and she persisted in her quest to find a way to fulfill her dream of becoming a mother. Time passed, and Rachel continued to pray fervently to God, asking for the blessing of motherhood. Finally, God heard her plea and intervened. Genesis 30:22 states, "Then God remembered Rachel. He listened to her and enabled her to conceive. Rachel conceived and gave birth to a son, whom she named Joseph, saying, 'God has taken away my disgrace.'" The birth of Joseph was a moment of immense joy and relief for Rachel. The name Joseph means, "May he add," reflecting Rachel's hope that God would grant her more children. Joseph's arrival not only restored Rachel's hope, but also solidified her position within the family, bringing her new honor and respect. Joseph would become a central figure in the history of Israel. His extraordinary destiny, which led him to become the governor of Egypt and save his family during a time of famine, testifies to his mother's importance in the biblical narrative. Years after Joseph's birth, Rachel's hope for a second child was finally fulfilled. Rachel became pregnant again, a blessing that brought great joy and anticipation to the entire family. By this time, Jacob had left Laban's land and was returning to his homeland, Canaan, as instructed by God. As they traveled, Rachel's pregnancy progressed. She was aware of the risks she faced, especially considering the challenges she had overcome to conceive Joseph. However, the happiness of carrying another child outweighed her fears. This second child would be the fulfillment of her desire expressed in Joseph's name. May he add a manifestation of God's continued blessing in her life. Jacob's caravan approached Ephrath, later known as Bethlehem, when Rachel went into labor. The conditions at that time were harsh, without modern medical assistance for complicated births. Rachel felt the intensity of labor pains, which quickly revealed themselves to be severe complications. Genesis 35:16-17 describes this harrowing moment. Then they moved on from Bethel. While they were still some distance from Ephrath, Rachel began to give birth and had great difficulty. And as she was having great difficulty in childbirth, the midwife said to her, "Don't despair, for you have another son." The midwife's words brought some comfort to Rachel amid her extreme pain. She knew her life was at risk, but clung to the hope and promise of seeing her second child born. Rachel's agony was intense, reflecting the severity of the complications she faced. When she finally gave birth, Rachel was exhausted and on the brink of death. With her last strength, she named the newborn Ben-Oni, which means son of my sorrow or son of my pain. This name reflected the profound sadness and suffering Rachel experienced during childbirth. The birth of Ben-Oni was a moment of extreme ambiguity, the joy of new life mixed with the imminent sorrow of his mother's loss. Jacob, deeply shaken by Rachel's death, made an important decision regarding his son's name. He decided to change Ben-Oni's name to Benjamin, which means son of the right hand or son of happiness. This name change was significant in several ways. First, it served as a tribute to Jacob's profound love for Rachel, transforming the negative connotation associated with Ben-Oni's birth into something positive. Second, the name Benjamin symbolized the honor and special position he would hold in the family, being Jacob and Rachel's last son. Genesis 35:18 records this poignant moment. As she breathed her last, for she was dying, she named her son Ben-Oni, but his father named him Benjamin. Benjamin, Rachel's second son, would become the ancestor of one of the 12 tribes of Israel, the tribe of Benjamin. This tribe played a crucial role in the formation and development of the Israelite nation. One of the most notable descendants of Benjamin was Saul, the first king of Israel. Saul's selection as king marked a turning point in Israelite history, transitioning from a tribal confederation led by judges to a centralized monarchy. Another prominent figure descending from the tribe of Benjamin is the Apostle Paul, also known as Saul of Tarsus. In his epistles, Paul identifies himself as an Israelite, a descendant of Abraham from the tribe of Benjamin, Romans 11:1. Rachel's death was a devastating blow for Jacob and the family. Deeply saddened, Jacob buried Rachel on the way to Ephrath. He erected a pillar over her tomb, a sign of his eternal love and lasting memory of Rachel. Genesis 35:19-20 states, "So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath," that is, Bethlehem. Over her tomb, Jacob set up a pillar, and to this day, that pillar marks Rachel's tomb. The pillar over Rachel's tomb remained as a symbol of her life and Jacob's love. Even in later generations, Rachel's memory and her role in shaping the people of Israel were honored. The cause of Rachel's death remains a mystery. Some scholars and theologians suggest that her death may be linked to specific events and declarations during her life. Three main theories emerge from scriptures and traditions to explain what happened. One of the most common interpretations is that Rachel was cursed by Jacob, leading to her premature death. This theory is based on a specific incident involving Laban's household gods. When Jacob decided to flee from Laban's house, Rachel stole her father's idols and hid them. Laban, upon realizing the idols were missing, pursued Jacob and his family. When Laban confronted Jacob about the stolen idols, Jacob, unaware that Rachel was the culprit, proclaimed a curse. "But if you find anyone who has your gods, that person shall not live," Genesis 31:32. Some interpret this declaration as a curse that inadvertently came true in Rachel's death. Although the Bible does not explicitly connect the curse to Rachel's death, this interpretation suggests that Jacob's words had a mystical or prophetic impact, resulting in tragic consequences for Rachel. This view is widely debated, as it hinges on the belief that words spoken in ignorance can have fatal power. The incident involving Laban's idols raises questions about Rachel's morality and religiosity. By stealing the idols, Rachel was engaging in an act that went against devotion to God. Some scholars interpret Rachel's death as divine punishment for her sin of idolatry. In this context, Rachel's death during Benjamin's birth would be seen as a direct consequence from God for her moral transgression of stealing and keeping her father's pagan idols. This viewpoint is supported by the biblical narrative, which often shows God severely punishing idolatry. However, it is crucial to note that the Bible does not explicitly link the act of stealing the idols to Rachel's death. Therefore, this interpretation remains speculative and subject to theological analysis. Another intriguing theory relates to a statement Rachel made earlier in her life when she was still barren and deeply desperate for children. In Genesis 31, Rachel said to Jacob, "Give me children, or I'll die." This statement can be seen as a hyperbolic expression of her anguish and desperate desire to become a mother. Some interpreters, however, view these words as prophetic or self-fulfilling. The theory suggests that Rachel, by uttering these words in a moment of intense emotion, somehow predetermined her fate. Rachel's death while giving birth to her second son, Benjamin, would be a tragic and literal fulfillment of her declaration. Although this view depends on the belief in the performative power of words, especially in intense emotional contexts, it also highlights human vulnerability and the mystery of destiny in biblical narratives. While none of these theories have a conclusive basis in the scriptures, they reflect the complexities of biblical interpretation and human attempts to understand tragic events through theological and moral perspectives. Rachel's story is rich in symbolism and meaning, and her tragic death while giving birth to Benjamin continues to be a profound point of reflection. However, Rachel's life and death are not merely historical events. They carry with them spiritual and moral lessons that resonate deeply, inspiring faith and introspection across the ages. The significance of her story extends far beyond the search for the cause of her death. It is in the understanding of the meanings and lessons that the Bible presents to us through her life that we find true wisdom and insight. Rachel is a figure who personifies the profound depths of human suffering and the relentless quest for divine blessings. Her narrative is a poignant reflection of the complex relationship between humanity and God, where personal trials, hopes, and desires intersect intricately with the divine plan. Despite the immense hardships she faced, Rachel's story beautifully illustrates divine sovereignty and the compassionate response to the sincere cries of the faithful. Her life, marked by profound love and deep sorrow, serves as a testament to the enduring power of faith and resilience. Through her children and their descendants, Rachel left an indelible mark on the history of Israel. Her legacy continues to inspire generations with her unwavering faith, remarkable resilience, and deep devotion. Rachel's story is not just about the trials she endured, but also about the triumph of faith in the face of overwhelming adversity. It speaks to the strength of the human spirit when anchored in divine trust and the enduring hope that faith can bring. Now, I want to hear your opinion. Do you find any of these interpretations compelling, or do you believe that all of this was intricately woven into the divine plan? Your thoughts and reflections are invaluable, so please share them in the comments section below. If you have stayed with us until now, please consider subscribing to our channel. By liking this video and hitting the notification bell, you will ensure that you do not miss any of our future content. Your support means a great deal to us. Thank you for watching, take care, and may God bless you abundantly.